Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time in sleep medicine in that there's been a lot of interest and a lot of development of potentially novel pharmaceutical targets in sleep medicine for a range of sleep disorders, particularly for sleep apnea, which is the focus of my research interests. Probably your audience knows sleep apnea is a really common condition, one of the most common sleep disorders in the United States, and the incidence is just growing because of the obesity epidemic. And the first line treatment for sleep apnea has traditionally been CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure, which works really well, but is not very well tolerated. In general, patients are not excited to start CPAP, and a large number of them cannot tolerate CPAP. And so there's been a lot of interest in developing alternative treatments, and a lot of patients have been interested in, finding a pharmaceutical treatment for their sleep apnea. And so this study, the Lunaro study, is really designed to evaluate a novel pharmacologic treatment, 8109, which is a combination drug that combines atomoxetine and R-oxybutynin. And so for the purpose of evaluating its efficacy as a treatment for sleep apnea. So the two drugs were selected because they could potentially increase sort of neurologic output for the upper airway dilator muscles, and thereby open up patency of the throat. So R-oxybutynin is a norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor that has been believed to increase neural tone during non-REM sleep, and R-oxybutynin is an anticholinergic that can perhaps minimize the suppression of neuromuscular tone during REM sleep. And in earlier phase 2 studies, the combination of these drugs was shown to lead to a 47% reduction in the apnea-hypopnea index, a measure of sleep apnea severity, over the short term, as well as lead to an improvement in fatigue scores. And so the Lunaro study is really now a phase 3 trial to evaluate this drug over a longer term to see if it can be used as an alternative treatment for sleep apnea. In terms of the design of the study, it is a randomized controlled double-blinded trial, placebo-controlled with two parallel arms. So patients either get randomized to the active drug or to a placebo in a 1-to-1 fashion. They're then followed for 52 weeks to evaluate the efficacy of the drug. The drug's slowly tapered up. So there's a 1-week run-in dose where they're taking a lower dose of the 8109, and then if they tolerate it well, go up to the full dose. Along the way, there are a number of overnight sleep studies done at baseline, at 13 weeks, at 26 weeks, and then at the end of the year to evaluate the primary outcome, which is whether or not the patient has a 50% reduction in the apnea-hypopnea index. There are also a number of secondary outcomes looking at a range of patient symptoms related to sleep apnea, and then a number of other outcomes like sleep architecture and the hypoxemic burden, as well as safety outcomes that are going to be assessed as well. Again, existing data suggests that up to 50% of patients with sleep apnea cannot or will not tolerate CPAP in the long term. So there's a huge unmet need for all of these patients with sleep apnea. And there's a range of different treatment options being developed. 8109 is one of them that really is targeting sort of neuromuscular function. And again, there's really exciting data in the phase 2 short-term studies. And I think, we've already very quickly sort of filled enrollment for the phase 3 trial with 660 patients, which I think is just a testament of how many patients out there are interested in a pharmacologic treatment like this. So we're really hopeful that, we'll get the results out there in about a year from now. And, fingers crossed, there's hopefully some promising results that give patients another treatment option.